Hey all, it's Daniel again. In this quick video, we're going to round out our series covering the tools in the Develop panel by going over the Spot Removal tool. It's really easy to use, and with it, you can get rid of unwanted distractions in your photos. The basic way it works is by cloning parts of your image to cover up parts that you want to have removed, and we'll see what that looks like in a second. Here, we have a few bits of trash and some crumbs on this table, and we're going to use the Spot Removal tool to clear that up a bit. I'll open up the spot removal panel, and here we have the standard brush sliders. You can control the size here or by scrolling up and down. As you can see right there, it's bigger and now it's smaller. You can also change the feather if you want to soften the edges of your brush, and the opacity basically controls how strong the cloning effect is applied. We also have the clone and heal settings here, and you'll use both of them depending on the specific situation. I'm going to start brushing over some of this trash, and I'll start right here by zooming in, and I'll just highlight this part, including the shadow, because we want to get rid of that as well. And you can see that it's cloning the image from here over to the area that we brushed. Now, Lightroom's pretty good in general about automatically selecting the area to clone, but we can also move areas around, and we'll do that to kind of get a look at how the clone and heal settings work. So if I drag this part over to the plate, we can see that it's cloning the plate over. We can switch to the heal setting, and you can see that it essentially still does the same thing. It's copying the plate over, but it's trying to adjust the cloned area to match the tone around the area that you brushed. And you can see that it's adding some pink to try to get to match. Naturally, it's a black plate. We're not going to get it to match a pink table just through an automatic setting like heal. But we'll set it back because I liked what we had before. And basically, there's no hard and fast rule for when to use either setting. You just switch between the two to see what looks best. So we'll put it at clone again. And I'll hit enter to get rid of the outlines, and we can see what we have. I think it looks pretty good. We can try the heal, switch it to heal and hit enter, and it actually does blend in a little bit better with the heal. So I'm just going to go through and finish removing the trash and crumbs, and I'll do that by using the scroll wheel to adjust the brush size for the crumbs. I'm going to keep going through until I'm satisfied. I'm starting to see it's probably smarter to get all the little crumbs out first before you go through. But this looks like it's working pretty well. And I will zoom out so we can get a better look at this. And hit done down here to get rid of all those little bubbles. And I'd say it looks quite a bit nicer without the clutter. We can hit backslash to compare before and after. And yeah, it looks a lot cleaner. The tool works best when you want to remove distinct objects like these pieces of trash against a solid background like the table in this photo, but you can also experiment with some more complicated cases. So I'm going to come here to this photo, open the spot removal tool again, and I'm going to try to cover up the guy here with the flowers around him. So I'll just put a pretty broad brush over him, and we can see it's grabbing some flowers and putting it over him. And you can see Illustrator didn't really do a good job selecting the area to copy this time, so we can move it around and see what we get. Drag it to an area that's a little more similar to where it was. I get it to blend a little bit. Hit enter. I'd say it's getting pretty close, but we have the clone setting on, so we'll try healing and hit enter. And unless you look really closely, you're probably not going to notice that there was a person there. So yeah, again, you can just experiment. You might not be inclined to think that these complicated flowers would be able to be cloned over a person like that, but sometimes you luck out and it works, and that's the beauty of this tool. So there are basically a lot of situations in when this tool really does come in handy, and I can use it to remove these power lines as well. I'll just go over a piece of the power line really quickly so you can see. Not the easiest to do with a mouse, but if you're careful, it works. And I'll just go that far. And as you can see, it actually does a pretty good job covering up the power line, and you could take it all the way through and finish doing that. And this is a pretty good spot where I can show you again, if you clone, the tone of the sky is a little bit different down here in the bottom. So the heel brush is really where it's going to come in handy here. And it basically helps it blend a little bit better in this situation. So that's the spot removal tool. It's super handy, it's pretty easy to use, you just have to play around with it a little bit, and it'll really help you get your photos looking really clean really quickly.